For the next match, we're going to bring the two teams on stage now. First team to come up is CAZ Esports. Come on up, guys. Give it up for them. All right, let's bring the next team up. We got Epsilon Esports. Let's go. All right, guys, take your seats. Let's get started. All right, casters, take it away.
All right, Sims, you're now back with me here in the desk. We're going to see these two teams, going to be CAZ Esports and Epsilon Esports, facing off against one another here in the ESL Arena. If you're just joining us, Supremacy was able to take that game number 3 against Optic Gaming and send them home. They will now await the winner here of CAZ and Epsilon.
I'm still in quite shock and awe, to be honest with you. I did not expect or see that one coming. I mean, is it bad of me really to knock down Supremacy? We saw so much damage that they've done, and the question is, rolling into game, we're into Series 2 now, Epsilon versus CAZ. Can CAZ shock and upset like we've just seen Supremacy do? Anything kind of goes here at the moment in Halo 5 Guardians, as there's no setups, there's no strats. It's use what you've got on the map. You've got the maps, you've got the weapons, you've got the abilities. Use them to the best of your ability and do the damage. But obviously Epsilon coming in with that 3-1 lead. The 3-1 that we saw back at 343 Industries. Right. But the one thing that we saw earlier on as well, I have to mention, Supremacy. They got 7-0'd today in practice by Epsilon. These guys are on fire. Jimbosity and Snipe Drone are playing like monsters, and the Buck Twins themselves are also doing just as much damage.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a very different game here. I think Epsilon Esports is quite the talented and practiced team. Take a look at this roster. Snipe Drone, Buck 57, Buck 20, and Jimbo. On the other side of the stage, though, it's CAZ Esports. We've seen a lot from Vard over the years in competitive Halo, but Hollers, Snaky, and Flames are going to be looking to make some statements here as well.
Snaky, more of a newer player. I remember seeing him turn up to his first event. Exceptional FFA players we have here. Snipe Drone, Jimbosity, Snaky. They are in fact, Vard as well, I have to give him credit. I've seen him win some FFA events. They are all individual FFA players. We've got the duos, though, on either side. We have the Buck Twins on one, and then the opposing side, you have Flames and Snaky. So a good mixture here. Now, interestingly, on Epsilon side, Snipe Drone and Jimbosity came into the scene with Halo 4.
Right.
These guys were strong, super strong. We saw them, I think, for their first event. Jim may have come top 8, and Snipe Drone may have come 9th. Within the second event, they'd already won. But let's have a quick short chat about their keys to victory. Keep Sniper from Vard. Vard, yesterday we watched in practice. He picked up the first snipe that he'd used in the game, instant triple kill.
Right.
You can't write that.
Yeah, I mean, Vard definitely brings a level of veteran talent, like we talked about in the pregame show, to this CAZ roster, but also their communication, Sims. I mean, you know these gentlemen for a long time. What do they need to do communication-wise to stay in the match?
I'd like to see him keep talking. The one thing that Snipe Drone is very bad at, he will go very quiet. Either way, even if he's winning or even if he's losing. I think in-game
and out-of-game, that's the case.
A little bit, definitely in-game.
Not a man of many words.
No, while he's at home, he certainly is. But you know what, let's have a look at the keys to victory to CAZ Esports. Shut down Jimbo. He's been doing damage to a lot of teams now.
Especially, we saw him do some serious damage to Optic Gaming at the Xbox briefing when we showed those clips. I mean, some of the plays that he made as he pushed up the left side of the map in the final moments, as well as the way he used the Spartan charge to steal the overshield. He's a top player, but of course they also need to break Snipe Drone, like you said, keep him out of the mix.
If they can do that to him, and we mentioned about his communication and whatnot, if they can just constantly keep him in death screen, he'll go quiet. He won't speak a lot, and generally he just won't. You won't see him do much. He'll kind of sit back and get a little bit. He doesn't get as confident in his BR, and he has an amazing shot. I've got to, Snipe Down has snipe in his name because he can snipe. This guy is exactly the same. He knows how to use it and he knows what to do. Players to watch right now, Buck 20 and Snaky, both exceptionally individually talented players. Snaky is super fast. That's the one thing that I must say about Arkel. He's very fast, and his pace of game, again, is maybe it comes down to FFAs. I don't know. You always see him in grand finals in Europe when doing FFAs, but you always see him with the sniper rifle. So we'll see if he can pick that up, but it's probably going to have a little bit of a challenge in getting it out of the hands of Vard.
No, definitely indeed. Looking forward to seeing these two teams kick off. As you see Snaky there on screen with a smile on his face, he's of course ready to jump into this match number 1, which is going to be Slayer on Empire.
Now, these guys have played the beta, they knew, so they're going to know Empire a little bit. However, the one thing I think they're going to struggle on is Fathom. I don't want to say, they can't fathom, but every time I'm seeing them play on Fathom, they've near enough been staked. For me, that kind of comes down to weapon control. Every time I've seen them play, it's been weapon control. Whether it's going to be the same on Empire, I don't know, but as you can see right now, there is the OS on screen where it spawns on Empire. There's the plasma caster at the back where the old sniper rifle was. Red base now on screen, one of the main locations. What we saw on previous Optic trying to hold down, but unfortunately it was the top T3 section that becomes vitally important. There's blue base off the spawn. Blue and red is where they will come in and go for that fight for the first OS top mid now. We've seen a few players dropping in. We saw Foxy trying to pull off a ground pound to take down the OS, but didn't manage it. There's Turbine now. As you come up, you can jump down or jump up from OS. You're going to have on back there. You will just about to see the plasma caster as we come around to it. But it's going to be all about the weapon control. For these guys, if they want to take down Epsilon, they have to control that shotgun on screen now and the OS if they want any chance whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, we saw some big plays with that shotgun, of course, in the first series. I want to kick things off here with Jimbo in this match. We saw a standout performance from him during that initial gameplay. So let's go ahead and start things off here with Jimbo, a.k.a. Jimbosity, on Epsilon Esports.
All right, then, guys in the audience, please make some noise for these two teams. Game number 1 of the second match of the day. Flames, they're taking one out, going 1-0 up. That's Snaky coming back. That's going to be Jimbo, though, answering back 2-1 now. The score grenade goes in. Somebody run round. Flame double kill now for Jim. And the one thing I have to say about Jim, it's his aim, bravo. His aim is super good. You get a lot of perfection medals out of Jimbosity. Looking round now, he knows somebody's up here. Round comes the quick sprint. That's going to be Vad, though, but they get the big trade.
Yeah, that's a big trade indeed. So that first overshield was burned, Sim. So now we'll go over to Flames on CAZ. He's got the SMG in hand at the tower.
Pushing into T3 at the moment. Grenade goes in. Nobody's running up there. 3 people now looking to do exactly what Supremacy did in the previous map, just lock this down and take control at the moment. There's a player down there. Has he just gone down? Grenade goes in. It's going to be Snipe Drone, jumps up. He gets completely ripped apart. Could this be a double? He's got another player there, though, but 4 people. The 4-man push was real. 2 of them were taken down by that SMG. But 57 trying to lock down the DMR now. Somebody comes down. But unfortunately, a player comes down, shuts him down and says no.
That's going to be Jimbo that also has the shotgun. So I like this play, using that shotgun YY. He just wants to sit back, right? He doesn't want to risk these kills. Instead, he wants to sit back in the tower, make sure they maintain control of that weapon and area.
At the moment, Jimbo just trying to keep it locked down as we move forward. He's got that shotgun in his back pocket spot. That's going to be Flames with the second OS of the game. And remember how dangerous this shotgun is, not only against players, but against the OS as well. We saw Flames so badly taken down, but he does get taken down. His teammate gets the assassination, but that doesn't matter. 9-10 the score. I'm impressed at how close it is. I know we've only just started the game, but you know what? CAZ putting up a damn good fight so far. Unfortunately, Flames gets shut down at T2.
There's now over to Snipe Drone, who actually did just pick up that double kill, but you're right. CAZ is putting on some really good pressure, especially when we look at the team they're playing against here, Epsilon Esports.
The one thing that I must say that a lot Optic Gaming was saying about this Epsilon roster is how controlled they are and how they work as a unit. And the one thing they said is Snipe Drone goes off on his own. Look at this, is exactly what we're seeing. The rest of the team is pushing around to T side. At the moment, we've got Snipe Drone on his own going one-on-one with Vad. Both players backing off, though. The plasma caster is up. Neither of them are going for it at the moment. Does the little cheeky jump to see if he can see him. However, one comes round. He goes down, so he's not even going to bother engaging him. Pushing round at the moment back to his red base as we see him. OS could be coming up,
yes,
but that's going to be a big charge there. But it says no.
That's a good charge. We'll go over to Snaky for just a moment because his entire overshield has already dropped from that Spartan charge. So it's a good play to, I think at the time, very situationally, you want to use that Spartan charge. I think he realized a little bit too late that Snaky had it, but he does knock it down quite a bit. They're down by 6 now.
So here we go. He's got the BR and the SMG combo. Long and close range weapons. No one's really going to want to challenge him either way, but he's trying to find a play. He needs to get someone first before doing it. Finds Book 57. Opts to go for the shots. Jumps over his head. And that's Jimbo who comes down and punishes him for that early thrust.
My. Jimbo there punishing him indeed. Quick turn on him. And I think it was Snaky who tries to make a play. But now look at the score. Epsilon Esports, Sims is just really pulling away here.
This is what I mentioned earlier on. They were getting to that point where it was quite even Stevens neck and neck. Book 20 just missing 2 shots. But look, again, he's got his brother to his left just coming in and giving that support. Epsilon Esports teamwork is so crucial and imperative now. But fortunately, Book 20 does go down. 16-23 the score. OS is up. It's going to be important who gets this next one. I'm not entirely sure who it is. And of course, it's Hollers. but he's just getting lit up by a DMR. Buck 57 somehow managing to stay alive. In comes another one. That's going to be Buck 20. His brother gets the big shotgun down, but he manages to pick up a double kill to take it to 18-27.
And now over to Snipe Drone. I mean, when you look at the score, when a team like Epsilon gets a lead this heavy, for the rest of the match, Sims are really just going to be looking to trade here. Of course, they want to maintain control of that overshield, but we saw just now that even if they lose control of the overshield, it's not the end of the world for them, right? They can shut that down all pretty quickly. So we'll go now back over to Buck 57.
9-kill lead here for Epsilon as we approach 8 minutes remaining in the game. Looking to try and lock down Red Side as they push forward. He's just holding down T2 at the moment. Player comes in. That's going to be Snaky. 2 players taking down 1. Epsilon doing what they do best and just controlling kills with multiple players at the moment. He's getting shot in the back. Will look to come out. Will sit around here because he's not sprinting. He's going to get his shields back. Possibly pop up for the DMR. He can see it on screen there. But then again, fire's coming across from Red Side as he still gets punished. He had no shields at all for a super long time now as Jimbo picks up the third OS, but that's going to be a big backwhack there, Bravo.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's a decent setup there from CAZ. CAZ had all the players, so many players down in overshield, in fact, that no matter which way Jimbo turned, he was sure to have his back to one of them. So they're trying desperately to stay in this match. Now, CAZ isn't necessarily out of it just yet. Take a look at that scoreline, bottom right, 26-32 they are down. With a few more kills and maybe another overshield grab, they can get right back in.
They were down around 11 at one point, so they're bringing it straight back into the game at this moment. He's got Snaky here with the SMG. Grenade comes in, moves out of the way.
You know, I have to say, I wonder, it did Epsilon start to just trade kills, right? Did they get a little bit careless? I think that might be the case now, as CAZ has certainly reduced that gap.
Doing what Supremacy did previous, just holding down the T3 section at the moment. DMR is there, opts to pick it up. He's got the SMG in back pocket as well if anyone wants to try and challenge him. But you know what? It's Snipe Drone. He says no as he thrusts back, shuts down Snaky. SMG's going to be on the floor. Jimbo now with the plasma.
Yep, and he's waiting for that overshield. Of course, he's in a really good spot right now, making sure that no one might drop. He cannot actually be seen from most levels of the tower, and that is an easy overshield grab. He gets his back to that corner to make sure he's not backwhacked. I like that play a lot, but a little bit too easy there, if you ask me, that overshield grab.
Yeah, that we did mention earlier on that they wasn't really, as he finds someone trying to get a ground pound off, picks him up one shot. You know what? CAZ really needs to control that OS. There was nobody even...
No, I mean, there was no attention put on it at all. I mean, there was even a few moments where Jimbo overextended just a bit. You saw him get away from that corner. Still, no grenades came in. No one even pushed. That's just an indication that CAZ, they were not in a position to push. They might have been a little bit conservative there, or they simply might have had too much pressure on them to even make that play.
But the opposing thing of that is that Jimbo now knows the timing of that. They didn't see when it was up. They didn't see him get it, so they don't exactly... He cannot time it now unless they get super lucky, as we see Jimbo flanking round from blue. 39-29, a 10 score gap. We've just passed 6 minutes on the clock there. He finds 3 players.
All of CAZ outside here.
He's just cleaned them up. There's the perfect medal on screen there for the double as he's moving forward with this OS. Trying to feel some players at the moment. I think they're going to be spawning up on T side, but look at them.
Oh my gosh, I have to say that we have Buck 57 with an overshield and Jimbo with an overshield at the same time. So a minute has passed and Epsilon kept their original overshield and has grabbed a new overshield as well. If that's not an indication of dominance, I'm not sure what is.
So now he's got the SMG as well. 2 S's in play. Finally does rip it from his back, turning around to try and help out a player. He does indeed. You see the medals racking up now for 57 as he's pushing back. Finds Hollers there, going in with the SMG, decides to thrust out of the way. Will get the reload on the gun. Will he go for the jump on Sneaky? Yes, he does indeed, as he thrusts in. There's Hollers. Hollers is he wants to go one-on-one with this SMG.
And what we're seeing the most there, Sims, is that the thrust is just really used to close the gap, right? You use that when you don't want to get hit by a grenade. And Epsilon with an easy win there, 50-30. They close out game number 1 over CAZ Esports.
That's a very, very, very big score gap. First time I've seen 2 OSs in play, which kind of...
me too. Actually, I was a bit worried because I started to see what were the makings, of an overshield setup when Jimbo still had that overshield. So I had a feeling that a minute had passed. Jimbo actually hadn't had any pressure. He just shuts down CAZ Esports. There are 2 overshields in hand, of course, make it very difficult to do anything against their opponent.
And this is what I mentioned about CAZ. They're not really controlling the OS. They didn't really have any control of the power weapons. It was all in the hands. Interesting to see how both teams opted to use the SMGs as much as possible. And we saw previous Flamesword. It may be Maniac, completely destroyed Fox's OS. Even at long range with the SMG, you scope in with that thing. And it does a lot of damage. It can really, really take it off people's backs. And going into Fathom now, I